The California sun beat down mercilessly on the asphalt of Route 58 as Tyler Bennett limped across the parking lot of Miller's Gas and Go, his left eye swollen nearly shut and his ribs screaming with every breath. The 14-year-old boy clutched his backpack with trembling hands, trying to make himself invisible as he stumbled toward the shade of the overhang where the air pump stood. It was Tuesday afternoon, and he should have been in school. Instead, he'd run. For the first time in 3 years of living under Craig Holloway's roof, Tyler had actually run away. His face throbbed where Craig's fist had connected that morning. The argument had started over something stupid. Tyler had forgotten to take out the trash before school, but with Craig, everything was an excuse. The man had grabbed him by the shirt, slammed him against the kitchen wall, and delivered 3 brutal punches to his face and ribs, while his mother stood frozen by the sink, tears streaming down her cheeks, too terrified to intervene. "Get out of my sight before I really hurt you," Craig had hissed, his breath reeking of whiskey even at 7 in the morning. So Tyler had grabbed his backpack and left. He'd walked for hours along the highway, no destination in mind, just putting distance between himself and the hell that was supposed to be his home. Now, dehydrated and exhausted, he'd ended up here, at this rundown gas station on the outskirts of Bakersfield. The roar of motorcycle engines shattered the afternoon quiet. Tyler looked up to see 5 Harley-Davidsons rolling into the gas station, their chrome gleaming in the sunlight. The riders wore black leather vests with a patch on the back, a skull with wings, and the words Phantom Riders MC, Bakersfield, embroidered in silver thread. Tyler's first instinct was fear. He'd seen movies about motorcycle gangs, heard stories about violence and crime. But as the bikers parked their motorcycles and dismounted, stretching their road-weary muscles, something unexpected happened. The lead rider, a broad-shouldered man with graying hair pulled back in a ponytail and a thick beard, noticed Tyler immediately. His eyes, sharp and observant, despite the crow's feet at their corners, fixed on the boy's battered face. "Jesus Christ," the man muttered, walking toward Tyler with surprising gentleness in his approach. "Kid, you all right?" Tyler instinctively took a step back, his defensive mechanisms kicking in. "I'm fine," he mumbled, the lie transparent even to his own ears. The man stopped a respectful distance away, not crowding the obviously frightened boy. He was tall, maybe 6'2", with tattoos covering his forearms and scars that spoke of a hard life. But his eyes held something Tyler hadn't expected, genuine concern. "My name's Jack Morrison," the man said, his voice gravelly but calm. "My friends call me Reaper. That's a hell of a shiner you got there. You want to tell me what happened?" Tyler shook his head, his throat tight with the emotions he'd been suppressing all day. He couldn't talk about it. Craig had made it clear what would happen if Tyler ever told anyone. The threats had been specific and terrifying. The other bikers had gathered nearby. A younger Hispanic man with kind eyes, a heavy-set black man with a salt and pepper beard, a lean woman with short blonde hair and sleeve tattoos, and another older white man with a scar running down his cheek. They all watched Tyler with varying expressions of concern and barely contained anger. "Listen, kid," Jack continued, pulling out his wallet, "I'm gonna get you something to drink and eat. You look like you haven't had anything all day. No strings attached, no questions you don't want to answer. Just one human being helping another. That okay?" Tyler nodded slowly. His stomach had been growling for hours, and his mouth felt like sandpaper. Jack turned to the Hispanic man. "Danny, grab the kid a Gatorade and some snacks. Nothing too heavy." The man called Danny nodded and headed into the gas station store. "The rest of you, fuel up," Jack said to the others. "We've still got 2 hours to the run in Fresno." As the other bikers dispersed to tend to their motorcycles, Jack gestured to a bench in the shade. "Come on, let's get you out of this sun." Tyler followed hesitantly, every part of him wanting to trust this stranger, but years of abuse making trust nearly impossible. They sat down, and Jack pulled out a cigarette before apparently thinking better of it and putting it back in the pack. "Used to smoke a pack a day," Jack said conversationally, trying to quit. "My daughter's been on my case about it." He paused, studying Tyler's face more closely. "You know, I got a nephew about your age. Lives in Oregon with his mom. Good kid, smart. If someone did that to him," he gestured at Tyler's injuries, "I'd want someone to help him if I couldn't be there." Something in Jack's tone, the sincerity, the protective edge, cracked something in Tyler's carefully constructed walls. "It was my stepdad," Tyler heard himself say, his voice barely above a whisper. Jack's jaw tightened, but he didn't interrupt. "He's been doing it for 3 years, since he married my mom. He hits her too, and he scares my little sister. She's only 9. The words tumbled out now, 3 years of silence breaking like a dam. "I can't go back there. I can't. But I don't know where to go. And if I tell anyone, the police, teachers, anyone, he said he'd make sure we all regretted it. He's got friends on the force. He knows people. He always says nobody would believe us anyway." Jack's hands had curled into fists on his knees, but when he spoke, his voice remained steady. "What's your name, son?" "Tyler. Tyler Bennett. And your stepdad?" "Craig Holloway. He manages Holloway Auto Sales on Chester Avenue." Recognition flickered in Jack's eyes. "I know the place. Big dealership, lots of money." He leaned back against the bench, processing. "Tyler, I need you to listen to me carefully. What's happening to you and your family, that's not okay. That's not normal, and you deserve better. Your mom and sister deserve better." Danny returned with a blue Gatorade, a sandwich, and a bag of chips. He handed them to Tyler with a sympathetic nod. "Thanks," Tyler managed, suddenly aware of how hungry he actually was. "Take your time," Jack said, as Tyler opened the Gatorade and drank deeply. The cool liquid was the best thing he'd tasted in days. The woman biker approached, her boots crunching on the gravel. Up close, Tyler could see she was probably in her late 30s, with sharp features and intelligent green eyes. "Reaper, we're fueled up," she said, then looked at Tyler with poorly concealed fury at his condition. "Who did this?" "His stepdad," Jack said simply. The woman's expression hardened. "Piece of shit." "Language, Cassie," Jack said mildly. "There's a kid present. Kid's probably heard worse," Cassie shot back, but there was no real heat in it. She crouched down to Tyler's eye level. "You got somewhere safe to go, sweetheart?" Tyler shook his head, unwrapping the sandwich with shaking hands. Cassie looked at Jack. "We can't just leave him here." "I know," Jack said heavily. The other bikers had gathered around now, forming a protective semicircle. The heavy-set black man spoke up, his voice a deep rumble. "Kid needs help, real help. Thanks for pointing out the obvious, Bear," Cassie said dryly. The man called Bear shrugged, just saying what we're all thinking. Jack stood up, pulling out his phone. "Tyler, I'm going to make some calls. There are people who can help, people Craig doesn't have in his pocket, but I need you to trust me. Can you do that?" Tyler looked up at these rough-looking strangers who'd shown him more kindness in 15 minutes than his stepfather had in 3 years. Something in his gut told him that despite their intimidating appearance, these were good people. "Okay," he said quietly. But then a thought struck him. Desperate, reckless, born from 3 years of helpless rage and fear. He stood up quickly, ignoring the pain in his ribs. "Wait," Tyler said, his voice stronger now. "Before you make calls, I need to ask you something." Jack paused, phone in hand, eyebrows raised. Tyler took a deep breath, his heart hammering. This was crazy. This was probably the stupidest thing he'd ever done. But he had to ask. He had to know if there was another way. "Can you get rid of my stepdad?" The words hung in the air like a thunderclap. Cassie's eyes widened. Danny whistled low. Bear crossed his arms, his expression unreadable. The scarred man, who Tyler hadn't heard speak yet, let out a short, humorless laugh. Jack's face remained carefully neutral, but something flickered in his eyes. He slowly put his phone back in his pocket and sat down on the bench again, gesturing for Tyler to do the same. "Tyler," Jack said carefully, "I need you to understand something. When you ask a question like that, you're asking me to do something that would put me and my brothers in prison for a very long time. You're asking me to become a criminal. Do you understand that?" Tyler nodded, shame flooding through him. "I'm sorry. I shouldn't have—" "Let me finish," Jack interrupted gently. "I'm not saying I don't understand why you'd ask. I'm not saying the bastard doesn't deserve whatever dark thoughts are going through your head right now. But there's a right way and a wrong way to handle this." "The right way doesn't work," Tyler said bitterly. "I told a school counselor last year. She called CPS. They came to the house, talked to Craig for 10 minutes and left. Craig was all charm and smiles, showed them our nice house, talked about how he provides for us. After they left, he beat me so bad I couldn't sit down for a week. He told me that's what happens when I embarrass him." The bikers exchanged dark looks. Jack's jaw worked as he clearly fought to control his temper. "CPS is broken," Cassie said quietly. "My sister went through something similar with her ex. System failed her too. So what am I supposed to do?" Tyler's voice cracked. "Just go back. Let him keep hurting us. Wait until he finally goes too far and kills one of us." "No," Jack said firmly. "You're not going back there, not today, probably not ever if I have anything to say about it. But we're going to do this smart, Tyler. We're going to make sure that son of a bitch never hurts you or your family again, and we're going to do it in a way that sticks." He looked at his crew. "We're going to need to make some changes to today's plans." The scarred man finally spoke, his voice surprisingly soft. "Fresno Run can wait, Reaper. This is more important." "Agreed," Danny said immediately, echoed by nods from Bear and Cassie. Jack pulled out his phone again. "First call is to Patricia Chen. She's a lawyer, good one, who specializes in family law and domestic violence cases. She's helped some of our guys with custody issues. She'll know what legal options we have." "Second call," Cassie added, "should be to Monica at the shelter. She runs New Horizons over on Union Avenue. They help families escaping domestic violence. They've got beds, counseling, legal aid, the works." Tyler felt something unfamiliar stirring in his chest. Hope. Actual, genuine hope. "What about my mum and sister?" he asked. "They're still at home with him." Jack's expression grew grim. "That's the tricky part. We need to get them out too, but we have to be smart about it. If we spook Craig, he might do something drastic. When does he usually leave for work?" "He goes in around 9, comes home around 6, but sometimes he comes home for lunch." "You never know. And your mom? She works part-time at a grocery store, Foodland on Ming Avenue. She's usually there from 10 to 3, then picks up my sister from school at 3:30. Jack checked his watch. It was almost 3 now. "Okay, here's what we're going to do. Bear, you and Danny head over to that elementary school and keep an eye out. Make sure the little girl gets picked up safe. Don't approach, just observe and report back. Cassie, you come with me and Tyler. We're going to meet with Patricia and figure out our legal angle. Vic," he addressed the scarred man, "you call the Fresno chapter, let them know we're postponing. Family emergency." "On it," Vic said, already pulling out his phone. Bear and Danny headed to their bikes immediately, no questions asked. Tyler watched in amazement as these strangers reorganized their entire day to help him. "Why are you doing this?" Tyler asked quietly. Jack looked at him for a long moment. "You ever hear of a group called Bikers Against Child Abuse?" Tyler shook his head. "It's a non-profit organization of bikers who protect kids who've been abused. They show up at court dates, stand guard at houses, make sure the kids know they're not alone. The Phantom Riders aren't officially part of that organization, but we believe in the same principles." Jack's expression darkened. "A lot of us come from hard backgrounds, Tyler. Broken homes, abuse, neglect. We know what it's like to feel helpless, to think nobody gives a damn. So when we see a kid in trouble," he gestured at Tyler's battered face, "we step up, Simple as that. Cassie had brought her motorcycle closer. It was a beautiful black and chrome Harley with saddlebags on either side. "You ever ride on a bike before?" she asked Tyler. "No, ma'am. First time for everything. You'll ride with me? I've got an extra helmet in the saddlebag." She pulled out a sleek black helmet and handed it to Tyler. "Put this on. It'll probably be a bit big, but it'll work." As Tyler fumbled with the helmet strap, Jack made his phone calls. Tyler could only hear Jack's side of the conversation, but it sounded promising. Patricia Chen apparently answered on the second ring and agreed to meet them at her office immediately when Jack explained the situation. The second call to the shelter took a bit longer, but by the end of it, Jack was nodding with satisfaction. "Monica's expecting us," he told Cassie. "She's got a 2-bedroom unit available as of tonight. She needs to do an intake interview with the mom, but she says under the circumstances, she can fast-track it." Tyler felt tears prickling at his eyes. These people, these strangers, were doing more for him in 1 hour than anyone had done in 3 years. "Thank you," he managed, his voice thick. Jack clapped him gently on the shoulder, careful not to jar his injuries. "Don't thank us yet, kid. We've got a long road ahead. But I promise you this, Craig Holloway is going to answer for what he's done, one way or another." There was something in Jack's tone that made Tyler believe him absolutely. 20 minutes later, Tyler found himself sitting in a small but tidy law office on F Street, clutching a Coke that Jack had bought him from a vending machine. Patricia Chen was a petite woman in her late 40s, with sharp, intelligent eyes behind wire-rimmed glasses. She'd listened to Tyler's story with professional calm, taking notes on a yellow legal pad, but the tightness around her mouth revealed her true feelings. "Tyler, I'm not going to lie to you," Patricia said when he'd finished. "Cases like yours are complicated. The fact that CPS already investigated and found nothing makes it harder. Craig's connections to local law enforcement make it harder. The fact that your mother is financially dependent on him makes it harder." She paused. "But none of that makes it impossible. What can we do?" Jack asked, leaning forward in his chair. Patricia tapped her pen against the legal pad. "First, we need photographic documentation of Tyler's injuries. I have a colleague who's a doctor. She volunteers at the shelter and does medical forensic exams for abuse cases. She can photograph and document everything tonight. That gives us hard evidence. Second, we need your mother to file for an emergency protective order. If she's willing to testify about the abuse she's witnessed and experienced, a judge can order Craig to stay away from all of you. That gives us breathing room to figure out the next steps." "She's scared," Tyler said quietly. "She's tried to protect us, but she's so scared of him," "which is completely understandable," Patricia said kindly. "But here's the thing, Tyler, your mother is an adult. Legally, morally, she has a responsibility to protect her children. I'm not saying it's easy. Abuse is complicated and trauma is real, but at some point, she's going to have to make a choice, and we're going to make sure she has the support and resources to make the right one." Cassie spoke up from where she'd been leaning against the wall. "The shelter can help with that, right? Counseling, support groups?" Patricia nodded. "Absolutely. Monica runs an excellent program. They have therapists on staff, support groups for both adults and children, job placement services, legal aid. If your mom is willing to take that first step, they can help her with everything that comes after." "Okay," Tyler said, feeling overwhelmed, but also oddly energized. "So what do we do right now?" Patricia checked her watch. "Right now it's 3:15. Your mother picks up your sister at 3:30, correct?" Tyler nodded. "Jack, your guys are watching the school? Bear and Danny. They'll make sure nothing happens. Good. Tyler, I need you to call your mother. Tell her you're safe, that you're with people who want to help, and that you need her to come meet with me. Don't tell her where you are over the phone. Craig might be tracking her phone or have access to her call logs. Just tell her to come to this address." Patricia wrote something on a piece of paper and handed it to Tyler. She needs to bring your sister with her. Tyler's hands shook as he pulled out his phone. It had been on silent all day, and when he looked at the screen, his stomach dropped. 47 missed calls from his mother, 32 text messages, 6 voicemails. He's going to be furious, Tyler whispered. Probably, Jack agreed. But you're not going back there, remember? And neither is your mum or sister if we have anything to say about it. Tyler took a deep breath and called his mother's number. She answered before the first ring finished. Tyler, oh my God, Tyler, where are you? I've been calling and calling. Craig is livid. He's at the dealership, but he keeps calling, asking if you're home yet. Please, baby, just come home. We'll figure this out. Please, Mom, stop. Tyler interrupted, his voice steadier than he felt. I'm okay. I'm safe. I'm with people who want to help us, but you need to listen to me very carefully. There was silence on the other end, then a shaky breath. What people? Tyler, you're scaring me. Good people, Mom. A lawyer. People who know how to deal with situations like ours. He couldn't bring himself to say Craig's name. I need you to pick up Mia from school like normal. Don't tell Craig anything's wrong. Then I need you to come to this address. He read off the address Patricia had written down. Tyler, I can't just... Craig will... Mom, please, Tyler begged, tears streaming down his face now. I can't go back there, I won't. And you and Mia shouldn't either. Not anymore. Please, just trust me this one time. Come meet with these people, hear what they have to say. If you still want to go back after that, I can't stop you. But please, just come talk to them first. The silence stretched so long, Tyler thought she'd hung up. Then, okay, baby, I'll come. I'll pick up Mia and I'll come to that address. But Tyler, yeah, Mom, are you really okay? Did he hurt you very bad? Tyler touched his swollen eye gingerly. I've been worse, but Mom, I'm done being worse. We all should be done with that. I know, Linda Bennett whispered. God help me, I know. I'll be there in about 45 minutes. When Tyler hung up, he realized everyone in the office was watching him with varying expressions of pride and sympathy. Well done, Patricia said quietly. That took courage. Jack's phone buzzed. He checked it and nodded. Bear says the mom just pulled into the school parking lot. Everything looks normal. Little girl came out with her class, got in the car. They're tailing them at a distance to make sure they get here safely. Your guys are thorough, Patricia observed with approval. We do our homework, Jack replied with a slight smile. The next 45 minutes felt like an eternity. Patricia prepared paperwork for the protective order. Jack made more calls, coordinating with the shelter and checking in with the other chapter members. Cassie sat with Tyler, asking him about school, his interests, anything to distract him from the growing tension. Tyler found himself talking about his love of drawing, how he used to spend hours sketching in his notebook before Craig started criticizing everything he did. Cassie listened with genuine interest, telling him about her own daughter who was into art and was currently studying graphic design at a community college. Finally, at 4:15, there was a knock at the office door. Patricia opened it to reveal Linda Bennett, looking pale and frightened, holding 9-year-old Mia's hand tightly. Mia had her mother's delicate features and large brown eyes that were currently wide with confusion and worry. Tyler. Mia broke free and ran to her brother, throwing her arms around him. Then she saw his face and gasped. Your eye. Tyler. What happened? I'm okay, Squirt, Tyler said, hugging her back carefully. It looks worse than it is. Linda stood frozen in the doorway, taking in the scene. Her battered son, the lawyer, the intimidating-looking bikers. Her face crumpled. Oh, Tyler. Oh, baby, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Mrs. Bennett, Patricia said gently, guiding the sobbing woman to a chair. My name is Patricia Chen. I'm an attorney specializing in domestic violence cases. These are my colleagues Jack Morrison and Cassie Reynolds. We want to help you and your children, but first, we need you to tell us in your own words what's been happening in your home. What followed was the most painful hour of Tyler's life. His mother, haltingly at first, and then in a flood, told the story Tyler already knew but had never heard from her perspective. How charming Craig had been when they'd first met. How he'd helped her through her grief after her first husband's death. How the first time he'd hit her, he'd cried and apologized and sworn it would never happen again. How it had happened again and again and again. How she'd been too ashamed to tell anyone. How Craig controlled all the money, monitoring every purchase. How he'd isolated her from her friends and family, always with reasonable-sounding excuses. How she'd convinced herself she was protecting her children by staying, by keeping the peace, by not making waves. How she'd known deep down that she was failing them, and how she hated herself for it every single day. Mia sat curled in Tyler's lap, crying quietly as she heard things she'd been too young to fully understand before. Patricia took notes, her expression professionally sympathetic but focused. When Linda finished, the lawyer leaned forward. "Mrs. Bennett, Linda, everything you've just told me describes a clear pattern of domestic abuse and child endangerment. Your husband's behavior is criminal, full stop. The question now is, are you ready to take steps to protect yourself and your children?" Linda wiped her eyes. "What kind of steps?" Patricia explained everything: the protective order, the shelter, the possibility of criminal charges, the divorce proceedings that would need to follow. She was honest about how difficult it would be, how Craig would fight back, how there would be scary moments ahead. But she also painted a picture of what life could be like on the other side: safety, independence, peace. The chance for Linda and her children to heal and rebuild. "There's a bed waiting for you tonight at New Horizons Shelter," Patricia said. "You and both children. It's a safe location that Craig won't be able to find. They have security, counseling services, everything you'll need. But you have to make the choice, Linda. Right now. Because if you go home tonight, I guarantee Craig will make sure you never get another chance to leave." Linda looked at her children. Tyler with his swollen eye and protective posture, little Mia with tear-stained cheeks and frightened eyes. "Okay," she whispered. "Okay, we'll go. We'll do whatever we need to do. Just please keep my baby safe." "That's exactly what we're going to do," Jack said firmly. The New Horizons Shelter was a nondescript two-story building on Union Avenue, deliberately unmarked to protect the residents inside. Monica Reyes, the director, was a formidable woman in her 50s, with kind eyes and the no-nonsense demeanor of someone who'd seen everything and wouldn't be intimidated by anything. She met Linda, Tyler, and Mia at a side entrance, ushering them quickly inside while Jack and Cassie stood guard outside. "Welcome," Monica said warmly, locking the security door behind them. "I know this is overwhelming and frightening, but you're safe here. Let me show you to your room, and then we'll talk about next steps." The room was small but clean. 2 beds, a couch that pulled out, a private bathroom, and a window with security bars that somehow managed not to feel prison-like. There were cheerful posters on the walls and a bookshelf filled with children's books and games. Mia immediately gravitated to the books, pulling out a worn copy of Charlotte's Web. "This is my favorite," she said quietly. "Then it's meant to be," Monica said with a smile. "That book belongs to you now if you want it. We have a whole library downstairs that's free for residents." While Linda got the children settled, Monica pulled Patricia aside. Tyler could hear bits of their conversation: intake procedures, counseling schedules, the doctor who would be coming to document injuries. Jack appeared in the doorway. "Doc Rivera just pulled up. She's ready to do the exam whenever Tyler's ready." "Doctor." Carmen Rivera was a woman in her late 30s, with steady hands and a gentle manner. She photographed every bruise, every cut, every mark on Tyler's body, asking clinical questions about how each injury had occurred. It was humiliating and painful, but Tyler forced himself to endure it. This was evidence. This mattered. When it was over, Dr. Rivera put a reassuring hand on his shoulder. "You did great, Tyler. These photos are going to help make sure the person who did this faces consequences." "How bad is it?" Tyler asked quietly. "You've got 2 cracked ribs, significant bruising, and a mild concussion," Dr. Rivera said bluntly. "In my professional opinion, you were assaulted, and whoever did it could have easily killed you if they'd hit just a little bit differently. The photos reflect that." Linda overheard from the doorway and made a sound somewhere between a sob and a gasp. After Dr. Rivera left, Patricia sat down with Linda to fill out the paperwork for the emergency protective order. They would file it first thing in the morning, and a judge would review it within 24 hours. "What happens when Craig gets served with the order?" Linda asked nervously. "He'll be ordered to stay away from all of you," Patricia explained. "No contact, not in person, not by phone, not through third parties. He won't be allowed within 500 feet of this shelter, the kids' school, your workplace, anywhere you regularly go. If he violates the order, he can be arrested." "He's not going to just accept that. He's going to be furious." "I know," Patricia said gently, "which is why we're going to make sure you have additional protection beyond just a piece of paper." She nodded toward Jack, who'd been standing quietly in the corner. "Which brings us to our friends in the Phantom Riders." Jack stepped forward. "Linda, I want to be very clear about something. What we're offering isn't legal protection. That's what the restraining order and the police are for. But we both know that sometimes legal protection isn't enough. Sometimes dangerous men don't care about court orders." He pulled out his phone and showed Linda a photo of about 30 bikers standing in front of their motorcycles. "This is the Bakersfield chapter of the Phantom Riders. We're not a gang, we're a motorcycle club. We work, we pay taxes, most of us are veterans or have regular jobs, but we also look out for each other and for people who need help." "I don't understand," Linda said. "What are you offering?" Cassie spoke up. "We're offering to make sure Craig knows you're not alone. We'll escort the kids to and from school. We'll have someone outside your work when you eventually go back. And if Craig shows up anywhere he's not supposed to be, we'll make sure the police know about it immediately. And we'll make sure he knows he's being watched. It's a visible deterrent," Jack explained. "Guys like Craig are bullies. They prey on people they perceive as weak and isolated. But when those people suddenly have 30 bikers watching their backs," he shrugged, "it changes the calculation." Linda looked overwhelmed. "I can't pay you. I don't have any money. Craig controls everything." "We don't want your money," Jack said firmly. "We want Craig to understand that there are consequences for hurting children. That's payment enough." Tyler felt something fierce and grateful swell in his chest. These people, these complete strangers, were risking their time, their safety, maybe even their freedom to protect his family. "Why?" Tyler asked again, the same question he'd asked at the gas station. "Why do you care so much?" Jack was quiet for a moment, then pulled out his wallet. From it, he extracted a faded, creased photograph. It showed a much younger Jack, maybe 25, in military fatigues, with his arm around a pretty blonde woman holding a baby. "That's my wife and daughter 23 years ago," Jack said quietly. "I was deployed in Iraq, second tour. While I was over there, my wife's boyfriend, this piece of trash she'd started seeing while I was deployed, he got drunk one night and beat her so bad she ended up in the hospital. My baby girl was 2 years old, sleeping in the next room while it happened." Tyler's breath caught. "My wife's brother, he was in a motorcycle club up in Sacramento. He and his buddies, they made sure that son of a bitch never came near my family again. They didn't kill him, didn't even touch him, just made it very clear that he had eyes on him 24/7. Guy moved to Nevada within a month. Haven't heard from him since." Jack put the photo back in his wallet carefully. "When I got back stateside, I joined that club. Spent 10 years riding with them before I moved down here and started the Bakersfield chapter. And I made a promise to myself that if I ever saw a kid or a family going through what mine went through, I'd do for them what those bikers did for my wife and daughter." He looked at Tyler directly. "So that's why, kid. because somebody helped my family when they needed it, and I believe in paying that forward." The room was silent for a long moment. Then Mia, who'd been quietly listening from her bed, said in her small voice, "Thank you." Jack's weathered face softened. "You're welcome, sweetheart." Monica checked her watch. "It's almost 7. I'm guessing nobody's had dinner yet. We've got a communal kitchen. Why don't I show you where everything is, and you can make yourself something to eat? Tomorrow's going to be a long day, so you should rest up tonight." As Monica led Linda and Mia toward the kitchen, Patricia pulled Tyler aside. "Tyler, there's something else we need to discuss. The police." Tyler's stomach clenched. "I thought you said CPS didn't help before." "CPS and police are different," Patricia explained. "And we have something now we didn't have before, documented evidence of serious physical abuse. Dr. Rivera's report, combined with your testimony and your mother's testimony, is enough for the DA to consider pressing criminal charges against Craig. He has friends in the police," Tyler reminded her. "Which is why we're not going to the Bakersfield PD," Patricia said. "We're going to the Kern County Sheriff's Department. Specifically to a detective I know and trust, Detective Angela Ramirez. She specializes in domestic violence and child abuse cases, and she doesn't have patience for corruption or good old boys networks." "When?" Tyler asked. "Tomorrow morning, after we file the protective order. Detective Ramirez is expecting my call. She'll want to interview you, your mother, and probably Mia too, though she'll be very gentle with your sister given her age." Tyler nodded slowly. The thought of telling his story yet again was exhausting, but if it meant Craig would face real consequences... "Okay, I'll do whatever you need me to do." Patricia squeezed his shoulder. "You're incredibly brave, Tyler. Don't forget that." That night, Tyler lay on one of the beds in their small room, Mia curled up next to him like she used to do when she was little and had nightmares. His mother was on the other bed, and for the first time in 3 years, Tyler could hear her breathing deeply in actual sleep, rather than the shallow, fearful half-consciousness that had become her norm. They were safe. For tonight at least, they were safe. Tyler pulled out his phone, Jack had given him a charger, and saw that he had 17 new messages from Craig's number. He didn't read them. He just turned off the phone and tucked it under his pillow. Across town, in his office at Holloway Auto Sales, Craig Holloway was experiencing emotions he wasn't accustomed to: confusion and genuine concern. His stepson had been missing for nearly 12 hours. His wife wasn't answering his calls. And when he'd driven by the house an hour ago, all the lights were off and both cars were gone. Something was wrong. Very wrong. Craig prided himself on control. He controlled his household, his business, his image in the community. He knew how to present the perfect picture: the successful businessman, the devoted stepfather, the pillar of the community who donated to the right charities and played golf with the right people. The violence behind closed doors was just discipline, order, keeping his family in line. They needed him. They'd be nothing without him. But now they were gone, and Craig didn't like not knowing where his property was. He picked up his phone and called Bob Davidson, an old friend who happened to be a sergeant with the Bakersfield PD. "Bob, it's Craig. Hey, I need a favor. My stepson took off this morning after we had a disagreement, and now my wife and daughter are missing too. Can you put out a wellness check or something? I'm worried sick here." He made his voice sound appropriately concerned, appropriately fatherly. Bob agreed to send a patrol car by the house and keep an eye out. Craig thanked him profusely and hung up, a plan already forming. If his family thought they could just leave, they had another thing coming. Nobody left Craig Holloway. Nobody humiliated him like this. Whatever it took, he'd bring them home. And when he did, there would be consequences for this little rebellion, consequences Tyler and Linda wouldn't forget. Detective Angela Ramirez was not what Tyler had expected. She was a compact woman in her early 40s with sharp, observant eyes and an expression that suggested she'd heard every lie and excuse in the book. But when she shook Tyler's hand in the interview room at the sheriff's department, her grip was firm and her smile was genuine. "Tyler Bennett," she said, "I've read Dr. Rivera's report and looked at the photos. I'm very sorry for what you've been through, but I'm also impressed by your courage in coming forward." Patricia sat next to Tyler, legal pad at the ready. Linda and Mia were in a separate interview room with a child specialist interviewer. For the next 2 hours, Tyler told his story in excruciating detail. Every beating he could remember, every threat Craig had made, every time he'd hidden bruises under long sleeves or made up excuses for limping. Detective Ramirez recorded everything, asking clarifying questions but never interrupting the flow of Tyler's narrative. When he finally finished, she leaned back in her chair. "Tyler, based on what you've told me, combined with the medical evidence and what I'm hearing from your mother and sister, I have enough to arrest Craig Holloway on multiple charges: child abuse, domestic violence, assault with serious bodily injury. We're talking serious felonies here. Years in prison if he's convicted." Tyler's heart leaped. "Really? You believe me?" "I absolutely believe you," Detective Ramirez said firmly. "And more importantly, the evidence supports your account. Now, I need to be honest with you about what happens next. Craig is going to get a lawyer. That lawyer is going to try to discredit you, your mother, the evidence, everything. This is going to be a fight. Are you prepared for that?" Tyler thought about his mother's fearful face, Mia's nightmares, his own years of silent suffering. "Yes," he said firmly, "I'm ready." Detective Ramirez smiled. "Good. Because we're going to make sure Craig Holloway never hurts another child again." That afternoon, while Tyler and his family were still at the sheriff's department, Judge Sandra Morrison reviewed the emergency protective order application. She read through Linda's affidavit, looked at the photographs of Tyler's injuries, and reviewed Dr. Rivera's medical report. Her decision took less than 5 minutes. Granted. By 3 o'clock, Craig Holloway was being served with the protective order at his dealership. A sheriff's deputy handed him the paperwork and explained very clearly that he was not to contact or come within 500 feet of his wife or stepchildren. Craig's face went through a fascinating series of expressions: shock, confusion, anger, and finally cold fury. "This is ridiculous," he told the deputy. "My stepson is troubled. He's making things up. My wife is having some kind of breakdown." "I haven't done anything wrong. Sir, I'm just serving the order," the deputy said neutrally. "If you have issues with it, you'll need to take it up with the court. But I'm advising you right now, violating this order will result in immediate arrest. Do you understand?" Craig understood perfectly. He waited until the deputy left, then called his lawyer. Burton Henshaw was one of the most expensive defense attorneys in Kern County, known for getting rich clients out of trouble. When Craig explained the situation, carefully framing himself as the victim of false accusations from an unstable stepson, Burton made appropriate sympathetic noises. "Don't worry, Craig. These protective orders are easy to challenge. We'll get a hearing, present your side, and have it dismissed in no time. In the meantime, you need to be smart. Don't contact your wife or kids. Don't go near wherever they're staying. Don't even text them. Give me time to work." Craig agreed, but inside he was seething. This was Tyler's doing. That ungrateful little brat had poisoned Linda's mind, turned his own family against him. Fine. If they wanted to play hardball, he'd show them what real hardball looked like. He started making calls to friends, business associates, people who owed him favors. He wanted to know where his family was staying. He wanted to know every move they made. And he wanted information on the people who were helping them, especially those bikers he'd heard about through the grapevine. Meanwhile, at the Phantom Riders Clubhouse, a converted warehouse on the outskirts of Bakersfield, Jack was holding church. That was what the club called their formal meetings, where serious business was discussed and decisions were made. 37 members of the Bakersfield chapter sat around tables, their full attention on Jack as he explained the situation with Tyler's family. Craig Holloway is a dangerous man with money and connections, Jack told the assembled bikers. He's not going to just accept this protective order and walk away. He's going to push back, probably hard, which means the Bennett family needs us to be visible and vigilant. A younger biker named Tommy raised his hand. What exactly are we doing, Reaper? Are we just watching, or are we prepared to do more if he crosses the line? We stay legal, Jack said firmly. I want to be crystal clear about that. We document everything, we report violations to the authorities, and we make our presence known as a deterrent. But we do not, under any circumstances, take matters into our own hands. Understood? There were nods around the room, though Tyler noticed a few members looked disappointed. Bear spoke up. I'll coordinate school runs. Me and Danny can trade off days, make sure the kids get to and from school safely. I'll handle surveillance on the dealership, Cassie added. Keep track of Craig's movements, make sure he's not violating the order. I want rotating shifts at the shelter too, Jack said. 2 members, minimum, outside at all times. Visible but not threatening. We're a presence, not a threat. A grizzled older biker named Frank raised a concern. What if Craig hires people to mess with us? Guy like that can afford to bring in muscle. Then we deal with it according to the law, Jack said. We document, we report, and we trust the system to do its job. I know that's frustrating, but it's the only way we can help this family without ending up in cells ourselves. The vote was unanimous. The Phantom Riders would protect the Bennett family. That night, Craig Holloway sat in his large empty house, drinking expensive scotch and staring at his phone. The silence was unbearable. He was used to Linda scurrying around, cleaning up after him, used to hearing the kids doing homework upstairs. Now there was nothing, just his rage and his wounded pride. He pulled up his contacts and made another call, this one to a private investigator he'd used before when he suspected an employee of stealing from the dealership. Martin, it's Craig Holloway. I need you to find someone for me. The next morning, Tyler woke in the shelter to the sound of motorcycles. His first instinct was fear. Had Craig somehow found them? But then he looked out the barred window and saw Jack and 3 other Phantom Riders parking their bikes in the lot outside. Monica was talking to them, looking amused and slightly exasperated. When Tyler came downstairs, she explained, "Your biker friends have appointed themselves your security detail," she said dryly. "I told them we have security systems, but they insisted." "Can't be too careful, Mom," Jack said respectfully. Tyler couldn't help but smile. He'd gone from feeling completely alone to having an army of leather-clad protectors in less than 48 hours. Patricia called later that morning with news. The DA's office is moving forward with charges against Craig. They're convening a grand jury next week. If the grand jury indicts, which they almost certainly will given the evidence, Craig will be arrested and charged formally. "How long does all this take?" Linda asked. "It's a process," Patricia admitted. "Arraignment, preliminary hearings, potentially a trial. We're looking at months, maybe longer. But the important thing is that Craig is not going to be able to come near you during that time." But Craig Holloway was not sitting idle. His private investigator had located the shelter within 24 hours. It wasn't that hard when you knew what to look for. Martin sent him photos. The nondescript building, the security cameras, and most interestingly, the motorcycles parked outside. Craig did some research on the Phantom Riders MC. On the surface, they seemed legitimate, a registered non-profit motorcycle club, mostly veterans, involved in local charity events. But Craig didn't care about their public image. He cared that they were protecting his family. He needed to send a message, not to Linda or the kids. The protective order made that too risky. But to these bikers who thought they could interfere in his life. Craig made another call, this one to a man named Derek Stokes. Derek ran a rival motorcycle club called the Iron Reapers, based out of Fresno. They weren't as clean as the Phantom Riders. They had connections to drug trafficking and other criminal enterprises. Craig had done business with Derek before, selling him vehicles with altered VINs. No questions asked. Derek owed him. "I need you to send a message to a club in Bakersfield," Craig told him. "Nothing permanent. Just let them know they're stepping on the wrong toes." Derek laughed. "The Phantom Riders. Yeah, we've had run-ins with them before. They think they're better than everyone else, all high and mighty. Be my pleasure to knock them down a peg." "I don't want anyone killed," Craig said quickly, "just scared. Reminded that there are consequences for getting involved where they don't belong." "I got you," Derek said. "Consider it done." 3 nights later, while Bear and Cassie were on watch outside the shelter, 3 motorcycles rolled up. The riders wore Iron Reaper patches. Bear immediately stood up from where he'd been sitting on his bike, his posture tense. Cassie pulled out her phone, already dialing Jack. The lead Iron Reaper pulled off his helmet, a younger guy with a shaved head and a scar through his eyebrow. "Nice night for a ride," he said conversationally. "Private property," Bear responded, his deep voice calm but firm. "Time for you boys to move along." "Just being friendly," Scarred Eyebrow said. "Heard you Phantom Riders are playing bodyguard these days." "That's cute, but you might want to think about whether these people are worth the trouble." "That a threat?" Cassie asked sharply. "Just friendly advice. Things can get complicated when you stick your nose where it doesn't belong." Before Bear could respond, 6 more motorcycles roared into the parking lot. Jack, Danny, Vic, and 3 other Phantom Riders arriving with impressive speed. Jack dismounted and walked straight up to the Iron Reaper, getting in his face. "You're a long way from Fresno, friend," Jack said quietly, "and you're awful close to violating about 5 different laws right now. So here's how this is going to go. You're going to get back on your bike, ride back to wherever you crawled out from, and tell whoever sent you that the Phantom Riders don't scare easy." Scarred Eyebrow smiled, but there was nothing friendly about it. Big words for a guy who's outnumbered. "You think?" Jack pulled out his phone and showed the screen. "I've got 12 more brothers 5 minutes away, and the sheriff's department on speed dial. So yeah, I'm feeling pretty good about our odds." The standoff lasted 30 seconds that felt like an hour. Finally, Scarred Eyebrow laughed and put his helmet back on. "See you around, old man." The Iron Reapers rode off, engines echoing in the night. Jack immediately called Detective Ramirez and reported the incident. "This is escalating," she told him. "Craig's clearly behind this, even if we can't prove it directly. I'm going to have patrol units swing by the shelter more frequently. And I'm going to have a conversation with Craig's lawyer about how witness intimidation carries serious penalties." Inside the shelter, Tyler had watched the whole confrontation through the window, his heart pounding. When Jack came inside to check on everyone, Tyler couldn't contain himself. "This is my fault," Tyler said, his voice breaking. "You guys are in danger because of me. Maybe we should just..." "Don't even finish that sentence," Jack interrupted firmly. "This is not your fault. This is Craig's fault for being an abusive piece of garbage, and it's his fault for being stupid enough to escalate. We knew there might be pushback. We're prepared for it. But what if someone gets hurt?" Jack crouched down to Tyler's eye level. "Tyler, listen to me. I've been in 2 wars. I've faced down men with guns who actually wanted to kill me. Some punk bikers trying to scare us. That's nothing. We're not going anywhere, and we're not backing down. You got that?" Tyler nodded, swallowing hard. "Good. Now get some sleep. You've got school tomorrow." School? Tyler had almost forgotten that was a thing. Monica had enrolled him and Mia in new schools closer to the shelter, using a special provision for children in protective custody. Tyler would start the next day at Roosevelt Middle School. The thought of walking into a new school, knowing nothing and no one, was terrifying. But somehow, after everything else he'd been through, it felt manageable. The next morning, Bear showed up at the shelter at 7:30 on his massive Harley. He had an extra helmet for Tyler. "Your chariot awaits," he said with a grin. Linda looked uncertain. "Is it safe?" "Mom, I've been riding for 30 years without an accident," Bear assured her. "And I promise you, nobody's going to mess with your son while he's with me." The ride to school was exhilarating and terrifying. Tyler had never been on a motorcycle before, and the speed and power were overwhelming. But Bear was a confident rider, and by the time they pulled into the school parking lot, Tyler was almost smiling. The smile faded when he saw the stairs. A 14-year-old kid arriving at school on the back of a Harley, driven by a 300-pound biker, was definitely noticeable. "I'll be here at 3 o'clock, Bear told him. "You have any problems, and I mean any problems, you call this number." He handed Tyler a card with a phone number written in Sharpie. "Someone will be here in 5 minutes. Got it?" "Got it. Thanks, Bear." "No problem, little man. Have a good day." Tyler's first day at Roosevelt Middle was surreal. His new teachers had been briefed by the counselor about his situation. He was a student in protective custody. Certain details were confidential. Please be understanding. Most kids ignored him, which was fine. A few asked questions about the motorcycle, which Tyler deflected. One kid, a lanky boy named Marcus Chen, sat with him at lunch. "That was your uncle or something?" Marcus asked, gesturing vaguely toward where Bear had dropped him off. "Something like that," Tyler said non-committally. "Cool, my uncle rides too. Got a Suzuki, not as big as that beast though. They talked about motorcycles, then video games, then nothing important. It was the most normal conversation Tyler had had in years, and it felt like a gift. When Bear picked him up at 3, right on time, Marcus gave him a respectful nod. "See you tomorrow, Bennett." "Yeah, see you." Meanwhile, Detective Ramirez was making progress on the criminal case. She'd interviewed neighbors who'd heard fights coming from the Holloway house. She'd subpoenaed medical records showing multiple emergency room visits for Linda with suspicious injuries. She'd even found Craig's first wife, who'd divorced him 10 years earlier and had some very interesting stories about his temper. The evidence was mounting. Craig, increasingly cornered, made another mistake. He showed up at Linda's workplace, the Foodland grocery store, despite the protective order explicitly forbidding it. He didn't approach Linda directly. He just stood in the parking lot, leaning against his Mercedes, watching the entrance. Making his presence known, an employee spotted him and immediately called the police. By the time officers arrived, Craig was gone, but the store's security cameras had caught everything. Detective Ramirez showed up at Craig's house that evening with an arrest warrant. "Craig Holloway, you're under arrest for violation of a protective order," she said with satisfaction as she cuffed him. Craig's lawyer got him released on bail within 6 hours. But the message was clear. The authorities were watching, and they weren't playing around. The grand jury convened the following week and returned indictments on 4 counts of felony child abuse, 2 counts of felony domestic violence, and 1 count of witness intimidation. Craig's bail was increased to $500,000, which he posted immediately. But his reputation was crumbling. Word spread fast in Bakersfield's business community. The news ran stories about the prominent local businessman facing serious charges. Customers started avoiding his dealership. Craig's carefully constructed facade was falling apart, and he blamed Tyler for all of it. 2 months after Tyler had approached the Phantom Riders at that gas station, his life had transformed completely. He was settling into Roosevelt Middle, actually making friends. Mia was thriving in her new elementary school, her nightmares becoming less frequent. Linda had started therapy and was beginning to reclaim pieces of herself she'd lost years ago. The Phantom Riders remained a constant presence. Different members rotated through shifts, but there was always someone watching, always someone ready to respond if needed. Tyler had gotten to know many of them. There was Danny Vargas, who worked as a paramedic and had 3 kids of his own. Vic Thompson, the quiet one with the scar, who turned out to be a mechanic and had taught Tyler basic motorcycle maintenance. Tommy Zhang, the youngest member at 24, who was studying criminal justice at the community college. They'd become more than protectors. They'd become family, but Craig's trial was looming, scheduled for early January. As the date approached, the pressure mounted. Burton Henshaw, Craig's attorney, was doing everything he could to discredit the prosecution's case. He filed motions to suppress evidence, motions to dismiss charges, motions challenging the validity of the protective order. Most were denied, but the legal maneuvering was exhausting and stressful. Patricia warned Linda and Tyler that they should be prepared for aggressive defense strategy. Henshaw's going to try to paint Craig as a devoted stepfather dealing with a troubled, rebellious teenager, she explained. He's going to suggest Tyler's injuries were from fights at school or self-inflicted for attention. He's going to say Linda is an unstable woman manipulated by outside influences, meaning the Phantom Riders. But that's all lies, Tyler protested. I know. And the truth is on our side. But juries don't always see things clearly, especially when a skilled lawyer is muddying the waters. We have to be prepared for this to be ugly. The preliminary hearing in November had been a preview. Henshaw had cross-examined Tyler aggressively, trying to catch him in contradictions, suggesting his timeline didn't make sense, implying he was exaggerating. Tyler had held strong, but it had been brutal. Now, with the actual trial approaching, the stress was affecting everyone. Linda was having panic attacks. Mia started wetting the bed again. Tyler found himself unable to sleep, running through his testimony over and over in his head. The Phantom Riders noticed. One Saturday afternoon, Jack showed up at the shelter with an unusual invitation. "Tyler, you ever been riding out in the desert?" "No," Tyler admitted. "Well, you're going to today. With your mom's permission, of course." He looked at Linda. "The kid needs a break from all this legal stress. Few hours in the open air, clear his head. I'll have him back by dinner, safe and sound." Linda looked uncertain, but Tyler surprised himself by saying, "I'd like to go, Mom. Please?" Something in his voice, a desperation for normalcy, for a moment of freedom, convinced her. "Okay, but you be careful." An hour later, Tyler was riding on the back of Jack's Harley, heading east toward the Sequoia National Forest. 6 other Phantom Riders accompanied them, their motorcycles forming a tight formation on the highway. The desert landscape was stunning, vast expanses of sand and rock, mountains rising in the distance, the sky an impossible blue. The wind whipped past Tyler's helmet, and for the first time in months, he felt something close to peace. They stopped at a scenic overlook, parking their bikes and stretching. Someone had brought sandwiches and drinks in their saddlebags. The bikers sat on rocks and talked about nothing important, sports, the weather, upcoming motorcycle rallies. Jack sat down next to Tyler, offering him a Coke. "How you holding up, kid? Really?" Tyler considered lying, then decided against it. "I'm scared about the trial. What if the jury doesn't believe me? What if Craig gets away with everything?" "That's a legitimate fear," Jack acknowledged. "I'm not going to blow sunshine at you and say it's guaranteed to work out. The justice system isn't perfect. Sometimes bad people get away with bad things." "That's not very reassuring," Tyler said with a weak smile. "But here's what I know," Jack continued. "You've already won the most important battle. You got yourself and your family out. You're safe. You're healing. Whatever happens in that courtroom, Craig doesn't have power over you anymore. Not really. The trial is about consequences for him, about justice, but your freedom, that's already happened." Tyler thought about that. He was safe. Mia was safe. His mom was getting help. They had a place to live. The shelter was temporary. But Patricia was helping Linda file for divorce and pursue financial support that would allow them to get their own apartment eventually. Craig couldn't hurt them anymore. "Yeah," Tyler said slowly. "I guess you're right." "Of course I'm right. I'm old and wise." Jack grinned. "Now eat your sandwich before Bear decides he wants seconds." The day in the desert became a turning point for Tyler. He returned to the shelter tired but lighter somehow, ready to face what came next. The trial began on January 8th in Kern County Superior Court. The prosecution's case was methodical and devastating. They presented Dr. Rivera's medical evidence, the photographs of Tyler's injuries, testimony from Linda about years of abuse, statements from neighbors and co-workers, medical records, school reports documenting Tyler's absences and behavioral changes. Tyler testified for 3 hours, walking the jury through his nightmare in calm, clear detail. Henshaw tried to rattle him on cross-examination, but Tyler had prepared well. He didn't take the bait, didn't get defensive, just told the truth. Mia testified briefly in a closed session with only the judge and attorneys present, describing what she'd seen and heard. Her testimony was entered into the record. The defense strategy was exactly what Patricia had predicted. Henshaw painted Craig as a frustrated stepfather, trying his best with a difficult child. He suggested Linda was mentally unstable, that she'd coached the children. He brought in character witnesses who testified to Craig's generosity and community involvement. But he couldn't explain away the medical evidence. He couldn't explain the photographs. And when Craig took the stand in his own defense against his lawyer's advice, it was a disaster. The prosecutor, a sharp woman named Elizabeth Park, systematically dismantled Craig's testimony. She caught him in multiple lies, highlighted contradictions, and got him to lose his temper on the stand, revealing to the jury exactly what kind of man he really was. "Mr. Holloway, isn't it true that you threatened Tyler that no one would believe him if he reported the abuse?" Park asked. "I never abused anyone," Craig snapped. "That kid is a liar and a manipulator. He turned my own wife against me, got those biker thugs involved." "Biker thugs? You mean the Phantom Riders motorcycle club who have been protecting your family from you? They had no right to protect children from abuse? Is that your position, Mr. Holloway?" Craig's face went red. "I want my family back. They belong to me, belong to you. Like property," Henshaw objected frantically, but the damage was done. The jury had seen Craig's rage, his sense of ownership over his family, his complete lack of remorse. Closing arguments were powerful on both sides, but the prosecution had facts and evidence. The defense had theories and character witnesses. The jury deliberated for 6 hours. They found Craig Holloway guilty on all counts. When the verdict was read, Linda sobbed. Tyler sat frozen, unable to process that it was actually over. In the back of the courtroom, Jack and a dozen other Phantom Riders stood in silent solidarity. Craig's face went white, then purple with rage. He lunged toward the prosecution table, shouting obscenities, before bailiffs tackled him and dragged him away in handcuffs. Sentencing was scheduled for 2 weeks later. The judge ended up giving Craig 22 years in prison, a severe sentence that reflected the serious nature of his crimes and his complete lack of remorse. 22 years. Tyler would be 36 when Craig got out. Mia would be 31. It was over. 6 months after the trial, Tyler stood in the parking lot of Bakersfield Community Church, looking at the crowd assembled for the Phantom Riders' annual charity motorcycle run. Over 100 bikers from chapters across California had gathered, their motorcycles gleaming in the May sunshine. This year's charity was New Horizons Shelter, the place that had saved Tyler's family. Tyler was wearing a Phantom Riders support t-shirt. He was too young to be a full member, but Jack had made him an honorary little brother of the club, and helping Danny organize the registration table. 123 registered riders, Danny reported. "We're going to raise serious money for the shelter today," Monica was there, beaming with pride and gratitude. "You guys are amazing. This fundraiser is going to keep us running for 6 months." Linda was volunteering too, working the refreshment table with Cassie and several other Phantom Riders' wives and girlfriends. She looked different now, healthier, with color in her cheeks and confidence in her bearing. The divorce had been finalized in March, and she'd gotten a full-time job as a manager at a different grocery store. She and the kids had moved into a small but comfortable apartment across town. Mia ran past, laughing, chasing after Cassie's daughter and some other kids. She was thriving. Her teacher had recently sent home a note praising her academic improvement and positive attitude. Jack walked over to Tyler, handing him a bottle of water. "Big crowd today," he observed. "Yeah, it's incredible." Jack studied Tyler for a moment. "How are you doing, kid?" "Really?" It was a question Jack asked regularly, and Tyler had learned to give honest answers. "I'm good. Really good, actually. School's going well. I'm even thinking about joining the art club next year. Remember how I used to draw? I remember. You any good? I don't know. But I want to find out." Jack smiled. "That's the spirit." Tyler hesitated, then said, "I wanted to thank you for everything. I don't think I ever really said it properly." "You saved my life, Jack. You and everyone here." Jack's expression softened. "You saved your own life, Tyler. You're the one who had the courage to ask for help that day at the gas station. We just provided support. But the strength, that was all you. I don't know if I would call it courage. I was desperate. Sometimes courage and desperation look the same. Doesn't make it any less brave." Jack clapped him on the shoulder. "And speaking of the future, I talked to my buddy who runs a motorcycle shop over on Oak Street. He's looking for someone to help out part-time. Cleaning, basic maintenance, learning the trade. Pays decent for a kid your age. Interested?" Tyler's eyes widened. "Seriously?" "Yeah, absolutely. I'll set up an interview. But you keep your grades up, understand? School comes first." "Yes, sir, I promise." The motorcycle run began at 10 o'clock. A massive procession of bikes rolling through Bakersfield, escorted by police, including, ironically, some of the same officers who'd once been Craig's friends, but had changed their tune once his true nature became public knowledge. The community turned out to watch, people lining the streets and cheering. Tyler rode with Jack again, and the feeling of freedom and belonging was overwhelming. These people, this community of rough-around-the-edges bikers with hearts of gold, had become his family. After the run, there was a barbecue at the clubhouse. Kids played in the yard while adults talked and laughed. It felt like a massive family reunion, which in a way it was. Bear cornered Tyler by the potato salad table. "Hey, little man, got something for you." He handed Tyler a wrapped package. "What is it? Open it and find out." Tyler unwrapped it to find a leather jacket, not a full cut like the Phantom Riders wore, but a simple black leather motorcycle jacket with Bennett embroidered on the front. "Every rider needs a good jacket," Bear said gruffly, "for when you're old enough to get your motorcycle license. Which ain't yet, so don't get any ideas." Tyler felt tears prickling his eyes. "Thanks, Bear. This is amazing. You're a good kid, Tyler. You're going to grow up to be a good man. We're all proud of you." As the sun set over Bakersfield, Tyler sat on a picnic table, watching the Phantom Riders and their families. His mother was laughing at something Cassie had said. Actually laughing, something she rarely did before. Mia was showing off a drawing she'd made to anyone who would look. Patricia showed up fashionably late, bringing a case of beer for the adults and ice cream for the kids. "Sorry, I'm late. Court ran long. You work too much," Jack told her. Says the man who runs a business, leads a motorcycle club, and apparently also runs a child protection service on the side. Fair point. Patricia sat down next to Tyler. "I have news. Craig's appeal was denied. The conviction stands. He's going to serve his full sentence minus time for good behavior, but we're talking bare minimum 18 years. Tyler nodded slowly. He'd been afraid Craig would find some legal loophole, some way to get out early. "How do you feel about that?" Patricia asked. "Relieved," Tyler admitted. "I know I shouldn't be happy someone's in prison, but he earned every day of that sentence," Patricia said firmly. "And you're allowed to feel safe knowing he can't hurt you. That's not wrong." Tyler looked around at the people gathered. The bikers who'd protected his family, the lawyer who'd fought for them, the shelter director who'd given them refuge, his mother and sister finally free and healing. "I used to think I was completely alone," Tyler said quietly. "That nobody cared what happened to us, that we didn't matter. And now," Patricia prompted. Tyler smiled, watching Jack demonstrate a motorcycle trick to a group of fascinated kids while Mia clapped enthusiastically. "Now I know that's not true. There are good people in the world, people who help even when they don't have to, people who stand up for what's right." "You're going to be one of those people someday," Patricia predicted. "Actually, you already are. You stood up when it mattered most." As darkness fell, someone started a bonfire in the fire pit. The Phantom Riders gathered around it, telling stories and jokes. Tyler sat between Jack and Bear, feeling the warmth of the fire and the even greater warmth of belonging. Jack raised a bottle of soda he'd quit drinking years ago. A toast to Tyler and his family, to new beginnings, and to the reminder that sometimes family isn't about blood. It's about who shows up when you need them most. "Here, here," the crowd echoed. Tyler raised his own soda bottle, grinning. 6 months ago, he'd been a terrified, beaten-down kid with no hope and no future. He'd approached a group of scary-looking bikers at a gas station and asked them a desperate question: "Can you get rid of my stepdad?" They hadn't gotten rid of Craig the way Tyler had originally meant. They'd done something better. They'd helped Tyler and his family get free, helped them find justice, helped them rebuild their lives. The road ahead wasn't going to be perfect. There would be challenges, therapy to work through trauma, financial struggles as his mother rebuilt their life, moments when the past would rear its ugly head. Tyler knew that. But he also knew he wouldn't face those challenges alone. He had Jack, who checked in with him every week and had become the father figure Tyler desperately needed. He had Bear, Danny, Cassie, Vic, and all the other Phantom Riders who'd shown him what real strength and protection looked like. He had Patricia and Monica and Dr. Rivera and Detective Ramirez, women who'd fought for him when the system had failed him before. He had his mother, finally emerging from years of abuse to rediscover her own strength. He had Mia, his little sister, who looked at him with admiration and trust instead of fear. And most importantly, he had himself, a survivor, a fighter, someone who'd found the courage to ask for help when he needed it most. Tyler Bennett was only 14 years old, but he'd learned lessons about courage, family, and justice that most people never learned in a lifetime. The fire crackled, sending sparks into the night sky. Somewhere in the distance, a motorcycle engine roared, and Tyler smiled, knowing that whatever the future held, he was ready, because he wasn't alone anymore. And he never would be again.